Right thing for watch, a decent for watch. Sticky Stucky Sweet TV with Keith Gargan, Facebook and YouTube. And that enough for watch. The movie star fly take off from Pelpa Time TV, so that. Boom!
A big sound, a big tune.
Ja holy Emmanuel, I woy. Ja Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. Well, Gideon go busting out them head again. So much oppression poor people face right now. Them crying out for freedom. Them crying out for free speech. Then said them want to stand up like them black liberators, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther and the ancient monarchy where come pave the way, sir. Free up black people from me tear down them fence, yeah. Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon, well, the Gideon go busting out them head. I listen, I the power of the Trinity. Give us the teaching of His Majesty, and we know war, not every...
Blue, Mr. Gargan, blue. Blue till me dance up me toe.
This is Sticky Stucky Sweet TV with Keith Gargan. Good, healthy food with the X Factor. So give it a like, share, subscribe, and touch up that notification bell. And that is it. Look at that.
Deliver me from my enemy, my God. Set me an eye from those who rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity. Save me from the bloodthirsty men. For behold, they lie and wait for my soul. The mighty gather themselves together against me, not for my disobedience, not for my sin, Lord. I have done no wrong, yet they are ready to attack me. Rise up, behold, and help me. You, Lord God of armor, the God of Israel, rouse yourself to punish the nation. Show no mercy to the wicked, traitor, sealer. They return at evening, howling like dogs, and prowl around the city. Behold, they spat with their mouth, so they are in their lips, for they say, Who art us? But you, Lord, laugh at them, you scoff of all the nation. O my strength, I wish for you, for God is my high tower. My God will go before me with his loving kindness. God will let me look at my enemy in triumph. Don't kill them, or my people may forget. Scatter them by their power, and bring them down, Lord, our shield. For the sin of their mouth and the words of their lips, let them be catched in their pride. For the curses and lie which they utter. Consume them in wrath, consume them, and they will be no more. Let them know that God rules in Jacob to the ends of the earth. Selah. At evening let them return, let them howl like a dog, and go around the city. They shall wander up and down for food, and wait all night, if they ain't satisfied. But I will sing of your strength, yes, I will sing aloud of your loving kindness in the morning. For you have been my high tower, a refuge in the day of my distress. To you, my strength, I will sing praises, for God is my high tower, the God of my mercy, Selah.
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again. Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces principles of good governance in this country.
Whoa. Somebody ball out one. Somebody say take them out. Lift your hand and say mighty God. Reverse them. Move them. Pull them out. Spray them out. every cockroach, every rat, every criminal, reverse them, every chichi boy, pull them out of parliament, every criminal, every scammer, every political scammer whose account can't count, all of them whose account can't count, back them out, spray them, they push them, some push up in our parliament, run them out, I drink out the milk, pull them out, mighty God, reverse them, indict them, mighty God, Holy Ghost, send a Holy Ghost, heist for them, deport them out of God's house. Some people in there want get deported back of their yard, send them back. Jezebel, Delilah, send them back of their yard. Ahab, send them back anywhere they come from. Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, St. Mary. Me I go to St. Mary.
I'm
Up and running, up and gunning. Sticky Stock Sweet TV, Keith Gargan. Cassava, passava, mind over matter. Blessed Thursday evening. And a Ben Johnson day, because I'm saying I can't forget me Ben Johnson day them, because I can't remember where I come from. Because I know them days of Ben Johnson day was a tough day for me growing up. And a lot of people as well. And a Thursday. Yeah, man. So we know, so we live, so well, we have food abundantly and things like that. Belly full up. Can't really even manage it sometimes. Sometimes you have to really think about other people and have it. So you come from the worst to a place where you can't say, well, then, boy, you have to remember where you come from. Because Ben Johnson day wasn't a normal day when we grew up, because more time people got in bed hungry. So we know all about it. So anyway, we give thanks and praises on the Ben Johnson day here. And also, well, then, still wake up and have life. Yeah, man. So, we are talking about right now, because we not talk about no politics for a good little while. Because sometimes we can't be bothered, sometimes we're busy, and sometimes we just want to relax from something else, you know what I mean? And then again, computer never work too properly from another day. And we get it sorted out, the sound. Take a long time to figure it out, because each time the settings change, the whole base are found one tricky thing that, that software. Yeah, man. Sometimes you have to call for your assistant to help you in a lot of ways. Very tricky settings. But anyway, there now, give thanks and praises, as we say. So we're going to talk about now, because we say we're going to Jamaica, GLP, you see the GLP, them abuse the standing order from the start, And at that Andrew Wallace put JULIET Wellness there to do, because that's something when them plan. Everything where GLP do right, I plan it, and just wait. That's why I see sometimes when we say the opposition, them now really fire up all cylinder. And the truth, I'm going to prove it in this video as well. Yeah, I'm going to prove it in this video. Because them people plan everything from the start, And I know something that's turned up like that. They say all the Cooper's Hill demolition and things like that. Andrew know him I do, That's why them buy the vote and make sure that them win the seat there. Because anyway PMP did win, them couldn't do that. But then again, the people in Rascal already sell them vote. And that's why we say, well, I'm not too sorry for them, Sometimes I'm sorry for them and sometimes I'm not sorry for them. But when I'm looking at it deep and say Portia Simpson are the woman who was trying to help them. And then people like Dirty Nation Narrow want to come spread a narrative now. So, well then, I don't know what them are trying to say, and the documents is there that are going from a longer time. A Portia Simpson trying to save them and stop the quota and all them things. And they want, and you see everything them try to turn back on the PMP, That's why I'm saying the PMP them now fire upon all cylinder, brother. You know what I mean? Them get ammunition to throw at them people and them just take it easy. I don't know why. Because you see Chris Hughes, me tell you, say, the brother, they have big man, really tan bad, Because the man is trying to talk about Ross, lad. Isaac just talk some little things out of there. When people are just, because Isaac, I respect the brother, he's a lawyer, so he's not going to talk nothing to break the law. But them take things out of context. And I come talk about the man resign because I talk about people, I encourage people to chop in. Bullshit, nothing like that. But them, all right, they talk about him encourage people to do chopping. What I'm telling Wheatley? Wheatley not supposed to be the government, Any other brass country, he could never dare. When him have a thing like this hanging over him, he have to step down. But Andrew Wellness a poll with it and say, I'm confident in him. Just imagine that. Chris Hughes now talk about that, There's so much things that Chris Hughes will talk about. You have a next woman named Dalrymple Pro from Trelawney, where she's a criminal. She find guilty and she have to resign. Andrew, bring her back. So they about a criminal where they found at the blood clot, even the front bench. It's a brass mafia government, this and you see the labor right on me off and knowing it. You can't see. And them a go and go, the boy, them a sink themselves, you know, boy, Marcus Garvey rather come to pass, you know, to be truthful. Yeah, man, because you saying, because that happened like Cooper's Hill, you know. Them back against the wall, and now them don't know if it do now, because them sell them blood clot vote, right? With Tobis, buy out them vote, because them made so them pitch tent down there, you know, with bag of money, because them have to win that seat. And they win by 326 seat. 26 vote, 326 vote. So that a landslide them win by. And all of them 300 vote buy them vote there. So a lot of money them pay for it. Because PMP was leading in that Rastler division. PMP was leading. Mr. McNeil was fucking leading. And you know them buy the fucking thing. So them know what them was doing. And look up now. Imagine that then again, you know, that's why they not respond them still, because them see them as a PMP supporter, but the money catch them because them red eye and licky. So Andrew Wallace let's use that upon them and say, oh, all right, when they take our money, we buy on a vote and we get to the money. So we can't do what we want to do. I don't sorry for them. I sorry for the kids them. That's all I can say. I sorry for the blood clot kids them. And I plain truth. I just kids them where them don't know what go on and things like that. But them rascal parents. Because I used to remember when my grand used to say, you know, the parents suck the sour grape, the children teeth become nedge. And that's exactly that happen right now. Because you have now. Them make a bad decision for them kids who grow up. So through a little bit of bomb or rascal money, I get fucking mad now, you know, because them people are sorry for who? I'm not sorry for who, man. I don't go on when I go. I just the children I'm sorry for. Because them don't know. I want to put them in that predicament, you know. So, on rascal suck the sour grape now. And the kid them a suffer now out a door and a tapaling. By the fucking unful decision by selling on a vote to this nastiness. Right? And now I regret it, but it's too late. Remember, you know, Marcus Garvey predict and say, Una not going to back against the wall. And now the back against the blood clot wall, because una back is on the blood clot outside, in the fucking, we call it, I don't know. Just sometimes I don't really want to blood clot, really go on bad, you know, because them things that just get me angry still, you know, because them people, if them vote for the PMP, they must still have a roof over them head today. But them deal with the short term. Licky. Because you see, that is why I bring down Jamaica, you know. These people into licky and don't really think about the future ahead. And the thing is most of all them have to think about is them kids where them fucking look how it's hard to really bring up a kid. Unless you don't really deserve to be a parent. Because if you don't think of your kids, because I know I saw it going at the whole of days. People talk about that, right? But like people, just blood clot, breed, have kids, and then just do some carelessness and don't want to do and remember and run at the people them and tell them must take the money and stuck it where the fucking sun don't shine. And now no better off because that the money wanna get. It don't matter if you don't get fucking 40. Yo, you think that $30,000 something like that is money that? Eh? For them people at lunch money because that they don't have lunch money. And look how you get that money and shit it out long time and piss it out. So what do you expect? Portia Simpson, the woman that tried to save with the PMP party, and the documents is there. Anybody can pull up them documents, and them are going to try now, nation wrong. I come try if you come with some like an idiot thing. So anyway, we not going to listen to them because they know say them honor the cash. Because the truth is the truth, and that's all it is. So you can't spin the truth. You can't spin it to certain people who want to believe, you know, like dirty supporters them who don't know better. Then again, anyway, we see a lot of labor writer come out and leak out still. Really a leak out. So it will go on and go on until it will boil up. People are going to fucking start to, because them say something really are going really horribly, you know. Yeah, man. Not just us a wrestler demolish, but as a motorist writer now, me never know some things can go on like that. People are charge you, I give you a ticket, you have a phone in your pocket. They might find every fucking thing. So this is the thing where the regime set up, you know, because them spend out the money, they don't have the money, and that's why school can't fix and all these things. They spend so much money on election and waste so much money on bus and all them. Well, I'm tell you something. So you see, in the end of the day, you know, they might find the money somewhere, and them a rascal take advantage of the motorists them, and because somebody can, people are give you a ticket for your phone in your pocket. Me don't want to come out and just share the phone in your pocket and the man give for $5,000 ticket for she go pay. Now them a hard time, yeah. Because you know do nothing wrong. You can't have phone in your pocket and police are give. And them a get away with it, you know, because some people don't bother to really challenge it, you know. If you have banana in your trunk, them a tell you, say, well, you have to have rather lice and all them things there. Me tell you something, Jamaica like it a go to waste. The only people who have benefit from that nice Jamaica right now are the people who don't born there, who come from overseas, who have the money to come invest and turn the same Jamaican people in a slave. Work them for little and nothing and give them Jamaican pay. Because in the Bahamas and them things, you know, get the American dollar them people get, you know. Jamaica is really one little banana republic country, you know, because and who cause it? Since this government come in, they make it get worse and worse right now. Because hotel workers them now get the money, they now get good treatment. Because slavery, this is what Bob Marley call mental slavery. You know what I mean? And this is it. And people don't really know that. Because every little people are working at a little Chinese shop, they now make the money. And when the Prime Minister come out there, they talk about $32,000 per more developed minimum wage. And then people that believe this blood clot demon. Okay, I don't believe. Yeah, let me tell you something. You see, sometimes when we look on things, people, you know, at the end of the day, because I know people born, you know, look, you know, if you go to school but you see, you have a thing named common sense, you know. Because some of the man, them, you know, people actually with dyslexia and things like that, them are the brightest, and when we say brightest, we come to even acting in a film. Look on Richard Branson. He's one of the richest men in Britain. Richard Branson is one of the richest men in Britain. And he's dyslexia. Right? Dyslexia is when somebody can't read too good. Right? Because like dyslexia is not what you know go to school, you know. Dyslexia is a mental issue to do with the brains, right? So if you check it out, and then again, you know, a lot of people don't even know them fucking things at Jamaica, you know what people them call so, you know. So you see, enough of the youth them, we used to go to school and you see them come out and them thick. It's not because them dunce and then because them go to school. But it's because that is a mental issue. Jamaica don't take them things serious. They don't have nobody to really check for all them things there. So people come up and things like that. But those people are some of the smartest people, right? And them make them name and everything big business because, you know, you have a thing where them can't read that good, them struggle because it's a mental issue. But with them, the thinking with them have, the common sense with them have, bigger than the man will go and have degree, all them things there. Because enough people have degree, them fool like a duck. And then again, I don't know if duck fool, you know. And that's what I hear people say still. Yeah. But the whole thing of rascal I go away in Jamaica right now. I know so sometimes, you know what time the blood clot, 1 plus blood clot, go chill out for 2 or 3 weeks. And usually them things there before, but me not have appetite again, you know. Because all the police them are going. Because I remember, you know, at 2018, We are come from Wochi. And on the highway, the police stop we. Now, Wochi we are come from. We are go to a funeral. My father's funeral, 2018. Me and my brother. And one of my cousin. And we are got Clarendon. And the blood clot police them because but we never get no ticket because them couldn't see no way to give you a ticket. But them are going and things like that and rate here. But they are trying to talk about speeding. And what for speeding we are doing it because my brother drive and him knows so well then speeding trap out there so we cut him speed. And like I said, and we never that late for the funeral, but we are trying to don't be late. Put it that way. So you see, in the end of the day, all these police are going right now, since the other day. Me I tell you, say, it's not safe for nobody. Because they will set you up, and a lot of you get set up and lose them life, and not come out of it. And some things we do, because even when the police end up on video now, they don't give a shit. Because you know why? They will get away. And this is the regime where they are Jamaica. Because police back them 100%. And that's why police can take out him gun and shoot an innocent man through her car glass when she's no threat to him and get fucking bail. Right? Get bail. What can go so? So you see, me no know. Me no know people. It's kind of really a struggle me in a lot of way. That struggle me in a lot of way. So that's why you see sometimes, I really, much time you say, well then look, me alright, me not do nothing, me can't, this is going for 2 weeks. Because sometimes I like go to Jamaica and nobody don't even know me I come. I'm just turn up. Because you can't take the pressure. Because you go, you give what you have and things like that. But you know what, sometimes nobody come talk about, you go make them know you come and page you talk about, bring that and all them things. I know that sometimes. Yeah. So, we can't do that again. I don't feel like do that again because what go on, and nothing to do with bad man, For the bad man, them alone, it will be no problem. It's the police, them. And them are the rascal problem now because them let go wild. They don't respect nobody. And even look at you and they don't like you neither. And then again, me as a man, you see, show me stay now. Me know me get to the hot water with them. Because my mouth now go close. My mouth now go zip. Because I deal with police are far in the same brass lad way when me know me right. But them the police at Jamaica, them not train. They will tell us, well, then, you know, if you answer them and you know, if you talk. Them things they cut out. What the blood clot doing about it, but you can't answer. Me not a person like that. If you just sit down and the police are try to abuse them power. And me if you keep my mouth shut, no, I'm not going to make them know. So then I like them things there. Someone have to try to know, so well then, me nobody have no appetite, Me not have no appetite. So it's safer for me right now. So I just allow it. Because in the end of the day, and like one time, because this thing change up rapidly, Police, that different set of police, them now, we see. In a Jamaica, because what me think, you see this police, enough of them now, you don't train, Is Andrew, let's just give them a job, and arrest strong, bad man them, then just make them eat a food, and give them the gun. And if you check it out, and PMP is supposed to check out them things there too, So there's a lot of police, we sit up on the street, like a young boy and things like that. Them don't do no training, because if they do training, they will never behave like that. Because they don't know what they must say sometimes. Then just put them out like a Lego beast to terrorize Jamaica. Because police become Jamaican #1 enemy right now. Because them is the enemy of the state. Them is the enemy of the state. To be truthful. You have some of them do them work good still, So when I go paint every police with the same brush, to be truthful. But boy, some of them will be say out there, I don't know. Them is like a Lego beast. Them not no training. Them deal with woman some way. Them deal with old people. Look what them do all the old man under there. Box him, lick out him teeth out of him mouth. And all them things. The big man yet the old man. So, me not understand. Yeah, me tell you something. There's no serve and protect again. So them things I'm afraid for. I'm not afraid for bad man or bad people. Because we used to bad too. So we know that for us, lad. Why not touch your body can? You're all right. You go anywhere. the nasty police them feel like them have the power and them can do anything because them out there to fucking not serve and protect, but out there and help themselves rob and thief. Because some of them police are the thief is son of a gun on earth, Yeah, man. Because them was going to the force for thief and get rich, all these things. And them have the rascal license to do it. Because them have the government boot, the government uniform, and the government gun. So some of them police are some idiot them, But because them come in a group and them checks them have the gun and them have, it's not just a gun alone, It's the bucketive. Them not do anything out of the law. Them gonna get away with it. Police getting away with murder every day. Not exactly murder of taking people 3 points, Let that go on, but me I say, well, then murder of things with them do and lawfully and overall ride their power, abuse them power upon the citizen when them is there to serve and protect. One time police was never like that. One time police was good police, good policing, I should say. Apart from you have some really bad police. Then you have to have them type of police like Trinity and bigger food than them man there. You have to have them people still. But apart from there, so you can name them and know say, well then when you say them police I don't play. But them that is part of the system. But when you have the whole rascal police force, I think the same way. I do the same thing. How the how it go really, I don't know. I don't know, Them tell lie, pure lie, them try to, me tell you some things are going to Jamaica people and it's like it really kind of really touch my core, But anyway, that is that. So we are talking about this JLP government who abusing the standing order from the start, from the coming of power. That's what them plan to do. And that's why Andrew Holness plant his wife there. Because, that could never happen in no democratic country where wife and speak and the blood clot there, man. Was sleeping never sleep in the same bed anyway, but them are wife and husband, so them can know what's going on, what to do, what to hide, what to delay. So you see, this standing order, I try to do some reform on it. I think it's over a year now. So you have this brother now, he is the chairman, Shea Kensi, a white man. I don't think he's a Jamaican, but he's there and, to put some reform on the thing. And we look on this thing and I say, this brother here talk and things like that. Isaac did that talk. But JULIET HOLNESS is so calm. Like, calm and going like say, well, and anyway was sitting at parliament. She wasn't so calm. She not doing her dirty work. But you saw she calm because she did before this guy, yeah. And she did her tell lie to She did her tell lie. And then the PMP them did and rebuke her. That's why I say PMP. Because have to rebuke her and hashway, Just rebuke her and don't make sure just get away things and we go point out that anyway. We go point out that. And that is the softness of the fucking yeah. We go point out that. But I don't know. It's a serious thing. That's all I can say. Very serious. Very rascal serious thing. To be truthful. I don't know. When I say I go on, it's like a rascal joke. I look on Andrew Holness so. I said JULIET Holness isn't that bad looking woman when she young, If you look on that picture with she and the thief in Andrew, you can see she was one nice young woman. But because she sin, she look like a ghost. Right now, you look on the camera, catch her. She look completely different. She not grow with no, she not get older with no grace. Can we just compare that picture to how she, let me tell you something. You see when people sin, and the same thing with like Andrew Holness the same thing. They might grow and if you look on them rascal appearance and them face, You look on Daryl Vaz, a pure hole him having a film face, you know, pure hole when the camera come up fucking close. So all of them money with them a thief, them now take care of themselves. So me no know. Ah boy, me I tell you say, you see, sometime me no know, you know. I don't blood clot, no. At all. But anyway, you're getting a video here. I see what go on. I'm going to point out, I'm going to try to point out too now. Where is this sound?
You might be doing in a different way in a certain context. So it would provide more structure to the day. Debates can happen faster. There's less debate about the standing orders, less need to suspend because the process is clearer. At least that's the aim. We then get to the duties of the clerk. So it modernizes.
So this man here is Kensi. No, she Kensi. He's the chair and look like he had do the reform. I don't think he's a Jamaican, but you know, Juliet Wallace kind of really try to like she do good. Just watch him, what does find out the things how she was because she them monks. You see, when them amongst them people, you know, them try to put on the best face, you know. Yeah, but let's go into the video and dissect it through.
This is the administrative foundation of the house. So identifying that the clerk and the clerk's team has responsibilities that aren't specific to core chamber functions, but about advising on procedure, supporting proceedings, maintaining records, preparing papers, and all the things that are required, but then being quite clear about how those things will happen, so expectations from members can be clearer about what to expect and when to expect it, which I know can sometimes be an issue. Then looking at Standing Order 2 to 4, then you really have the role of the Speaker, and we get into the point here, and there's a fair amount of clarification about the Speaker's role, which retains the broad substance of the existing provisions, but is more coherent about the role of the Speaker, Deputy Speaker, how election would happen, absence happens, vacancy, how authority is designated and delivered, but it doesn't make any sort of major substantial change to the constitutional position of the Speaker, but it just clarifies what those roles and responsibilities are. And this is very much a kind of best practice Commonwealth thing that I've brought in to make it clear about what the role of the Speaker is and isn't, and how those rulings should be put down and applied. And again, it comes in clear about the Speaker's authority to interpret and enforce the standing orders, regulate procedures, maintain order, and decide procedural questions as well. So hopefully it reduces the scope for kind of repeated challenge and codifies powers that were previously dispersed or assumed. We then deal with the oath. So, by the way, I'm going in the new orders rather than the old ones. It was previously Standing Order number 1, but it just clarifies the oath and members taking it, but gives more clarity about the administrative machinery around that. What happens with the role, with vacancies, with by-elections, hopefully improving record integrity, and allowing that rule to work better throughout the entirety of a parliament rather than just at the beginning. So then we get to an area on interests. So this was quite limited in the previous set of standing orders, but is more expanded in these, and it makes it much clearer about narrow rules on pecuniary interests to sort of a broader transparency framework. And I imagine when the committee goes through more, line by line or clause by clause, or however it wants to regulate its own proceedings, this might be an area of interest and debate. Again, this draws on sort of best practice provisions from around the Commonwealth and more broadly as well. But it has more clearer duties on the registration, declaration and disclosure of interests, and how that links with the the ethics committee and essentially how that would strengthen public confidence and give members clear expectations about interests that should be or shouldn't be raised and how to deal with those. In clauses 14 to 15, you are then looking at order and how order is dealt with. So it gives a structured framework rather than a small set of chamber rules. The provisions give the speaker clearer tools for dealing with disorder, obstruction and misconduct, and make the consequences of non-compliance more predictable. So there is a clear framework for how disorder escalated, right from a please desist to, a major piece of disorder and what would need to happen. Again, I imagine this will be an area where members will want to discuss this. It's important. Everything here is important, but there are certain areas that I'm sure members will want to discuss to get it right, because those members may be enforcing or subject to these provisions, and so it's important that everyone is on the same page. Then looking at what was Standing Order 81, now Clause 16, enhanced and constitutionally linked focus on attendance. So clearer processes for recording, explaining and dealing with absence, and the revision links the standing orders more to constitutional requirements about when an absence becomes a kind of a procedural issue and when not. We then get into a few areas here, and I don't think this is, I'm asking you to go into detail right now, but we have areas on the dress code, so expanded and modernised, made clearer. Then we think about language again, so how language and what language should be used in an orderly fashion, particularly around dialect and other languages with the permission and oversight of the speaker. So hopefully this improves inclusivity while protecting the official record of Parliament, an area members may wish to discuss. The use of technology as well. So one of the problems with standing orders is they're often catching up with technology. So I've tried to produce a sort of future-proof framework for example, hybrid participation to an extent electronic devices, recording, broadcasting, and hopefully gives the House more resilience in the case of emergencies and recognises more modern working practices. But as ever in all of these, there is still the authority of the Speaker to regulate that use, so it's not a free-for-all. Again, talking about public access, so this is another area where it talks about how the public, media and other observers access proceedings, again, retaining the House's power, particularly where security or privilege or order requires it. Moving on then to kind of new clause 21 to 22, so this is about voting in divisions. It makes it very clear, and I think a lot of this as we go through, I'll probably use the word clear more than anything else. It makes the voting process and the decision-making process in the House.
Yeah, I think this brother have an English accent, I think he's from Britain. So he has tried to help with the reform of the standing order, because the standing order abuse from Andrew Wilson of power from 2016. But I mean, I tell you, say, and it get worse and worse. Believe you me, it get worse and worse, because since JULIET Wallace come in as the really main speaker, she just do what she want to do. Turn off mic, huggle up her face, like a bully. She looks so horrible. I don't know if she's not going to look back on herself and say she... Because you see, you look on British politics, this speaker is very independent. He don't show no side. You look on an English parliament on a question time there, and you see speaker I behave like that. Is neutral and natural, neutral to each party, Labour, Conservative. Because more than that man, that speaker brother, they will say, when one of them will say, well then, anyway, anybody and make up all nice and him talk to them 1 or 2 times, I give them a last chance, I blood clot, suspend them for the day. I'm not wrong. And time he say, well then, quiet and things like that, and pointing finger. Juliet always do them things there. She do bullying. Don't make people talk. Let me tell you something, man. I hope, I don't know if anything I got change on this.
Much clearer how they're recorded and how we maintain the integrity of the record. This should hopefully reduce disputes about divisions and transparency about how members voted. And then there's a distinct procedural safeguard following this on special constitutional amendments and constitutional treatments for those, codifying thresholds, certification, procedural requirements, and hopefully reduces the risk of constitutional amendments procedures being treated as ordinary legislative business. So there's a bit of a distinction there. Shall I continue? I'm conscious I can't see the room, so I don't know if a hand has gone up.
No, you can go right ahead. When we need to interrupt, we will do so. We heard you. So Sean is looking at himself. He's not seeing us. But if a mic comes on at a critical juncture, we'll indicate. Members listening in so far, are we comfortable with the explanations being given as we are going through the matrix?
Yeah, I think he's doing so well that it would be good for us to go through his presentation because there are questions that will arise.
Member Malahou for it.
Seeking clarity, Madam Chairman, this is not intended to substitute for a discussion on the proposed orders.
No, this is intended to open our discourse. So this is establishing the basis, what was done, what jurisdictions one would have relied on, to pull information together to sort of codify and standardize what the standing orders are across the Commonwealth. And this discussion with Sean is really to establish the base and help us to be better guided in our own discourse, internal debate, and ultimate decision as to what we would like our standing orders to finally be at the end.
Why not get odds on this?
Let fun in with 3.
Yeah, so I should add to that. This is an overview.
I don't know. I get adverts from this thing, you know. Cause me pay a monthly prescription. I don't understand this. I don't supposed to get no ads during my fucking videos then. That's funny. Or do I get in Royals Clad ads? I don't pay subscription for me for no ads. Oh, fuck's sake.
Of everything that's happened. But as I said a couple of times, there are really important discussions. You know, these are the rules that govern order and process and legislation running through the House of Representatives. So I would imagine there'll be a considerable amount of more conversation rather than a quick run through, which is what I'm doing now. But now the intention is just to give that overview of what's happened and what the intended changes are, and hopefully to give a sense in the whole of what this is trying to achieve, and what will hopefully be the outcome. So in which case I will carry on then. So then moving into clause 24, so that's around quorum. And I should say, hopefully you can see as I go through, these now follows a more logical path than how the standing orders used to work. So quorum area retains the basic quorum rule, but modernizes its operation, including around potential virtual participation or how quorum might work in emergencies, supporting continuity of parliamentary business, but maintaining the importance of it as a constitutional and procedural safeguard. We then get into issues around subjudice. This has never really been expressly codified, I think, but it relates to the procedural boundary around references to matters in the court. So this is a really important element about how you don't unduly influence court proceedings while you're in the House. and it gives clearer guidance about that. So how justice can be protected, while also giving clearer guidance about how the speaker can rule about what is or isn't permissible in that area. And that really is drawing from jurisdictions across the Commonwealth and sort of bringing that into the Jamaican context more specifically. Then again, we're moving into following.
But I think all of them things was there before, I seen the Labour Party come in, them change everything, and do what they want to do. Because them under British rule, and the same thing them supposed to follow as the British Parliament. So, we don't know, they look at them people, we don't know. Them abuse the whole system and abuse the blood clot other opposition members them. Because when we say I go on, that never used to go on. Only under Andrew Holness government. People are lock off mic and all them rascal thing there. People are envy people from speak, cut them off. Yeah, I'm tell you, so peer abusing. So I don't know.
Subjudice, the matter of privilege. So questions about how privilege matters should be raised and assessed. It gives a clearer route, I hope, for members to bring privilege matters before the House, and hopefully also helps the Speaker, any time, or the Chair, how to distinguish.
Because look at JULIET told us do all the while. You know much things them the woman for table things them and get back all even the illicit thing the way with the Integrity Commission, You know much things she hold back and delay. Could never happen in England. When something come to table, quick and fast at the table, nobody can play no game. Because they don't allow that. So the same thing is supposed to happen at Jamaica. So that woman, they abuse the rascal thing, she and her husband, and them know what them do. And that's why we say sometimes, PMP weak, them on the talk, and them not really, because now it come to this now, where this brother talk, he might have the right thing, but them things supposed in a place, but they look like them break it. Because GLP break everything, Anything you see PMP set up or way in place, them always come and change it, If them want good, That's what, and what them do, them mash up the country more and more by doing those things. Because it don't really look like a democratic country at all. So that them do. Remove the goalposts all the while to suit them. To get a leverage over the opposition. So that's why the opposition will come out and fight more, tougher and harder. You know what I mean? Cannot sleep, man. Cannot sleep. Yeah.
Which between a genuinely privilege issue from an ordinary political or procedural complaint, so how those are distinguished and how they'd be handled differently. We then get on to sittings. So this has been sort of reframed, expanded, and supplemented slightly. It retains the core framework for ordinary sittings, but then modernises the drafting and places special sittings within a clearer structure. So again, this is sort of catching up with how things happen, rather than having a false reality in the standing orders that requires to be suspended or ignored. More provisions there on prorogation, dissolution, and the kind of constitutional life of the Parliament. So it improves certainty about what happens to business at key transition points. I think this is a good example here of where, if you are a member of the House and you have been for a while, some of these things will seem quite obvious, but new members maybe less so, and the general public even less so. So this is where you're making the House more transparent about how it operates, and providing that kind of one-stop shop of how the House works and its rules. On to 32 then, we're looking at the order of business. So this sort of maintains the substance of the existing order of business, but presents it in a more clear and accessible sequence. So it will help with the preparation of the order paper, but it also makes it clear about how business will proceed. I think the previous orders aren't particularly clear, so this is really where we have applied practice and what members are essentially expecting to happen, rather than what would otherwise happen. It's for a House, it's for the government to regulate itself and its order of business, and that wasn't necessarily reflected in the previous standing orders, which I hope it is better now.
They'll change it up.
Then looking at adjournment, so
Sue them
adjournment
oneself.
provisions have been brought together. This is a consolidation into the sort of broader framework of the standing orders. Hopefully, this makes things more readable and a clearer distinction between an ordinary adjournment debates, and procedural motions relating to the sitting of the House. So it sort of brings those things together and then makes more clear how they are different. Ministerial statements, the standing orders on those have been refined and integrated, I would suggest. So statements are brought into the broader framework of the order of business. It retains the ability for ministers to make statements where they're clarifying their kind of position, but it makes it clear, and it gives it clear about how that works and the relationship between statements and questioning and how those two interact. On petitions and papers, this is a minor expansion and clarification, so I would say it modernises the rules for petitions and papers, setting out clearer routes for how those are submitted, presented, and then published, how they're accessed, the form in which they need to be sent in and put out for members. And hopefully this has the benefit of improving transparency and record keeping without fundamentally changing any of the rights to present petitions or lay papers. It makes it clear about how one would go about doing so. On questions, again, this is a series of clauses that have been streamlined and consolidated. These are the old sort of 14 to 17C, now looking at 37 to 4. But this brings, again, together a fragmented set of provisions into a single questions framework, clarifying things like notice, admissibility, supplementary questions, written and oral questions, urgent questions, speaker's role in those, and then making the scrutiny function through questions easier to administer and understand. And again, a similar point here with motions, where the existing rules on motions have been maintained in substance, but they've been separated out a little bit and sequenced, and hopefully that's clearer. Again, this is an area, and you'll see this as well with bills and financial procedure and other areas, where it hopefully improves the procedural accessibility, really giving you a paint by numbers approach to how you would work through from the beginning to an end of motions and debates and outcomes, preserving members' rights at the same time. But there's some more clarity about timings and process there. On bills, so there's been a bit of an enhancement rather than an addition, I think I would say here. So legislative procedure has been, the main purposes of legislative procedure are common across the Commonwealth and common across jurisdictions. But I think particularly here, there's a sort of a clearer treatment of certain areas. So, for example, carryover, lapsed bills, improving continuity between sessions, and making clear about the state of legislative business at prorogation or dissolution. But again, it gives you that sort of process of a bill in a way that perhaps wasn't previously there, making it easier for new members, the public, and current members to debate and discuss and decide on the core business of Parliament. Financial procedure then, so we're looking at 62 to 65. This is enhanced and clarified, so it expands and clarifies the rules governing financial business. So we're looking at estimates, appropriation bills, related financial motions, and I'm hoping that this improves the alignment between parliamentary control of public finance and the practical procedures by which financial business is considered. So one of the main or core tasks of Parliament, if you really break it down, is money, authorisation of, and hopefully this makes it clearer and easier to understand again, many of these are, as much as possible, almost put through a time sequential process where you would work through in a certain way and you would get the right outcome at the end. So committees then, a lot of work has been done on committees, not necessarily to change them, but to make it much clearer. So previously you had 73, 68 to 80, 73 A to E, and now there's much more in it. So they've been reframed and restructured, replacing a list-based and alphanumerically framework with a more functional system. So the revised draft, I hope, clarifies committee types and membership, chairing powers, evidence powers, reporting, publication, regulatory oversight, and in so doing, I would hope, gives a sort of stronger and more adaptable procedural foundation for committees and how they operate. But again, I would dig into those, particularly if you're on those committees, to see how they are. But it thinks about general powers and then specific powers and specific conditions by which committees work in. And then finally, of this canter through, I mean, there are other areas that haven't necessarily been covered right now, but of the key areas, you will note a very significant general definitions framework at the back. There's been a labour of love, and I would say the most comprehensive of any set of definitions anywhere in the Commonwealth. And really, this is to focus on interpretation again. So where there are issues around interpretation and implementation, or discussions around them at least, this has really clarified what everything means in the standing orders, and it can be referred to, and indeed is referred to in the standing orders, to give them effective power. So this is the definition, according to the House of Representatives. This really is to make the rulebook hopefully much easier to apply, as long as they're used in the kind of terms using the operative provisions. So that's a big piece of work. I'm sure people will have comments on that as well. Hopefully not controversial. But it talks to that whole point, which I hope I will sort of finish with again, which is this exercise has been primarily to make the orders that you have clearer, easier to use, less debatable, because everyone is on the same page about what things mean, and then easier to apply, allowing more time to be spent on the core business and less time on the application of standing orders. So that is my run through there, Chair. I'm very happy to take questions. You've heard a lot of my voice, and hopefully that was clear. I know there will be more discussion needed on many, if not all, of the points that I flagged today. But hopefully that gives a good overview of what's been done and why.
I used to think booking rewards flights required an economics degree, but most travel credit cards make using your points more difficult.
People sorry about this advertisement because I've been paying a monthly subscription blood clamor fee to block all ads, and I don't know why these ads coming up, so I'm gonna check what's happening, because I'm paying for this shit, man. So there's no ads supposed to come in on my fucking videos then, because I'm paying for block all ads by YouTube. £10.99 every month. Yeah? So all the fucking ads come in anyway.
Thank you very much, Sean. Most appreciated. Everyone listened attentively. We will now field questions. Before I do so, one of the questions asked prior, and an observation from a member, we have not gone in and made changes to timelines of what we used to do before. And let me use one example. A member that doesn't attend Parliament at all, currently it is very difficult for our standing orders to in any way sanction that individual, because it requires that you have been absent for 6 consecutive sessions within a period of 21 days. We have left it as it is. Even if we are of the view that that should be tightened, we haven't made any adjustments to our existing standing orders, removing any privilege that we had before. So if we thought that 45 minutes was too long for presentation, it is still there. Those are the things that we know as a committee, having concluded the process with Sean and getting an understanding, we'll still have to go back to make decisions as to what we may want to adjust further. Thank you. Member Paulwell.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and can I join you in expressing appreciation for the work that was done prior to now, and the presentation, which provides a good overview and comparative analysis as to where we are here. So I just have a few questions, and probably instead of pausing, I could just go through my list so that I won't have to hug the microphone. Firstly, you have indicated that this is a comparative work done looking at the practice across the Commonwealth. And in that regard, I want us to come back to the focus that we practice the Westminster system. Are we, in a significant way, departing from the Westminster system and...
That may I say, because I don't know why I go to Jamaica, you know, who I set up this reform, and because he's not a blood clot English, because he might depart from the Westminster fucking thing where they did for fucking hundreds of years, and that used to operate, even a Siago days. Parliament operate just like England, same thing, but it's just Andrew Holness going, me say, when them can come and do these things and get away with it, and like it's nothing, abuse the opposition, spokespeople them, day in and day night, day in and day out. They keep on doing it and get away with it. And them take it for a joke, them laugh. And that's why sometimes me have to say, you can't say you're sorry for the PNP them, because them supposed to use them power and them boldness and go up on top of things. But them take it easy sometimes and make them people, so it's like a bullyism. Because this is not Westminster version at all. So I think this man will do the reform, so it's something, I don't understand this, I get in, because I don't see it and I say, well then, dissect it and yeah. But no, so this is nothing to do with Westminster, England, because we already have that already, but them Labour Party abuse it and do what they want to do, change it up. Yo, I was some serious thing going on, I see some people out there now where after about 1 p.m., JLP, shower and all these things, they not look deep in our politics, you know. They not these are things we're supposed to look into, because they don't have time to do them things there. Anything them people tell them shake them head and believe it. They don't do no research for themselves. They don't have no idea for themselves. And that's how the Labour right supporters them stay. And them you call bagger, you know, to be truthful. That's how we know say PMP supporters them are bright people. Yeah, man. And there's no joke about that. PMP supporters are bright people. No matter where you live, no matter where you come from, you're bright, them bright. And I know some you see it, you know. The DLP boy, I mean, I tell you them people just go with anything them hear. And they're more interested if you get the rice class, box of Kentucky chicken, the little drink of rum. You know, a parallel child, they say one time at St. Thomas. So the St. Thomas man, them just want to drink rum and jump up. No, seriously, you know. And that's a big insult, you know, for insult the blood clot supporters them of the JLP. It shows the JLP don't respect Jamaican black people, you know. They must respect them for them vote. And once you vote them in, because that's a go on. What happened down a Cooper's pen other day, Trelawney, that can tell you, say I just that. They don't respect them. But you see, we're not going to learn, you know. But the thing is we're not going to learn, but we're going to learn the hard way. And that go on. We're not going to learn the hard way. Because you see, when you have a roof over your head, where you work hard and bite, whether a plywood or a concrete structure, it don't matter, it's a roof. I remember, you know, there's so much people live on capital land of Jamaica. So, and I like say Jamaica, so you see, I remember that is a part of Jamaica. But, you know, now them feel like, say, well, in a certain place that people occupy, it's too good for them now. It's too good for them. Because the white man and the man who want to spend the money, want the land to invest, build up them hotel and things like that, and they don't give a shit about the Jamaican people. It's not them still, you know. It's the Jamaican government supposed to protect the people them. So if them people can come in and put some sweetener up on the table, and then boy they get to put it in them pocket, they don't respect them Jamaican people. So they might learn the hard way right now. Because we have a house last week, and this week, it turned a rubble, and you're not appalling, a tent with the kids them. You tell me now. When I learn the hard way, and now I realize, if it was PMP, when I run up and down and a blood clot rate, would be still there today. Because PMP was the person who was trying to save that piece of place and make the people have the title. Andrew Wallace come now, and I'm 10 years plus, and look what I do. Yo.
So those standing orders that the British Parliament now enforce, and if you could say that this is a model of a predominant model of a country in the Commonwealth, would you be able to isolate such a country, or this is just the conglomerate acting as you have determined? So that's one question. Secondly, I know that judges have been loath to interfere with the running of Parliament, but are you aware of emerging jurisdiction in terms of the courts and whether or not they have in any jurisdiction interfered with and provided jurisprudence, case law in relation to the running of any parliament, including the British Parliament? Thirdly, we see in this new draft, as also in the current draft, the provision for the suspension of all of the standing orders. So these are rules that govern us, but at any time, a motion can be moved for their suspension. Are there principles that govern? And I know that our aim is to make our standing orders so much more certain. But if you are able to suspend them, then the issue of certainty falls away. And perhaps you could give us what is the standard that is applied across the Commonwealth. And right, those are my questions.
Welcome to Harlan's Bank, Revolut, where he takes gains very seriously. He earns interest.
Wonderful, thank you, and thank you for engaging so much with the presentation and the work. So on the point around comparative work, so I would say this is fundamentally a conglomeration of various people's work. You'll be aware that Trinidad and Tobago a short time ago did a pretty comprehensive rewrite of their own standing orders. And having visited Trinidad on several occasions once to sort of work on standing orders and attend a conference there, that seemed like a good place to start. So certain of the provisions have been taken as an example of sort of best practice in a Caribbean context. That said, actually, they've really been drawn across from across the piece, all, I should say, very much Westminster system, built on the framework you have, being sensitive to the specific conditions of the Jamaican Constitution and the practice that you have. But this has been pulled from several areas. So this isn't a cut and paste from somewhere else. I took some inspiration from the Trinidad and Tobago work because they had taken a reasonably novel approach of being much clearer and almost starting again with the standing orders and saying it's got really confused. We agree with it. All the principles are the same. but we are going to kind of work through more methodically and make it easier to access. So that was the starting point, that sort of model of clarity. But really, this has been drawing what I would consider to be best practice from across the Commonwealth, and not necessarily from Westminster itself, which I would say is the standing orders would do well to look at these a bit about being clearer and more accessible to the public. But you'll appreciate that there can often be resistance to that. So, yeah, this is very much from a Westminster system based, looking at similar countries or nearby countries that have gone through this exercise of modernisation. I think, as the chair mentioned before, one of the challenges or opportunities, I suppose, with your particular jurisdiction is the lack of change there's been for such a long time. So rather than it being, and there have been amendments, I'm conscious there have been amendments and additions, but it meant there was quite a lot to do to get them up to scratch, so, or to modernise them and make them clearer. So that provided an opportunity to do a bit more. So I would say these as printed would be some of the most sort of forward-looking standing orders in the Commonwealth as written, not procedurally necessarily, because the procedures are the same, it's still the same legislative basis and it's the same process, but in terms of being clear, simple to access, easy to use, that would be my first response. So comparative with a focus on local countries, but again also drawing on best practice. On the point around judges and judicial interference in the standing orders, so it's a pretty firm constitutional principle that the House has the power to regulate its own business. I must say it's not an area of expertise for me in terms of someone getting involved in the standing orders. Of course, there will always be a tension between, and particularly in countries with a greater constitutional basis than perhaps the country I'm in right now, but in your case where you do have things that are quite firmly established. But in relation to the standing orders, I wouldn't think so. I think it'd be more around powers to prorogue or dissolve Parliament. That certainly happened here a few years ago, but that's not necessarily standing orders. That's more about prerogative power. I mean, one of the things I would say is that what I've very much tried to do in the standing orders is make very clear what the constitutional powers are for different branches of government, how they interact and where they end. So there is much clearer about what it is and what isn't the power. And that's where we have this section before that never happened. We have a section that was never there before on purpose and scope. So that is there to anchor the House's constitutional power to regulate its procedure, but also making clear that these standing orders operate subject to the Constitution and that they don't themselves alter the Constitution. So it's quite clear there. But that'd be my response to that. So I think there will always be a tension, and there's almost a deliberate tension with the separation of powers that we try and maintain in Westminster systems between the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. But I would hope that these actually, in your context, improve the possibility. And then finally, the provision.
Sean, you have one intervention, Member Malahoo Ford, I believe,
Please.
On something that you would have spoken about already.
Yeah.
So just put a little note down so we don't have you lose your train of thought.
No, I took notes so I can. We'll be moving on to suspension of standing orders. So, but I'm very happy to talk about the points I've made up until
Go ahead,
now.
Member Malahoo Ford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the matter of suspension of the standing orders, it should be noted that what is proposed at the new standing order 4.1 is a repeat of what currently exists at Standing Order 86. So that is nothing new. The existing standing orders provide that any one or more of these standing orders may, after notice or with the leave of the Speaker, be suspended on a motion made by a member at any sitting, and that is repeated verbatim. So to avoid any misunderstanding that the revised standing orders are proposing suspension of any or all of the standing orders, that would not be correct. The proposed orders under suspension operate merely as procedural clarity as to how a motion for the suspension of the standing orders would be addressed. I think it's important for those who are listening on. So the impression is not given that something new is being proposed. It is what exists now, and it's actually what exists in virtually all of the parliaments.
Sean, over to you.
Well, I think the question has just been answered substantially with that intervention. Again, and I think as the speaker mentioned before, where there are sort of so the suspension of standing orders is a pretty normal thing. Well, it is a normal thing. You know, the House can regulate itself. It can at any time decide to take a different course. That's a constitutional principle. It's not governed by outside. So if a majority in the House takes a decision to do something, as long as it's not unconstitutional, that can continue. This is very much what is already happening, being brought forward. But I think there's two questions. There is this different? No, it's not. Should it be used less? Yes, I would hope so, because as much as possible, standing orders should work in a way that they are you don't need to suspend. And I think it's a sort of part of a culture of a parliament or otherwise to determine that. And furthermore, as again I'm sort of echoing speaker and things I've already said, where there are very tricky sort of procedural issues that are not about best practice, they're about a decision of the House and they need discussion. I've certainly not decided that the context in which I drafted the standing orders and worked them initially was a kind of apolitical pre-election. There was no members there. I was in the House. I was working through how things happened. I'd come to visit Jamaica and work on it. So there will be a lot of debate about how some of these operate, and I think there should be, and it shouldn't be for me to say. I think there's areas where there is reasonable debate between the committee yourselves and then onwards from there. But yeah, this isn't a significant change in powers. It's basically moving things across, and as has just been said, and as is the case with a lot of things, being kind of clear about if you're going to do that, here's how you do it, and here's how you would talk about it. Anyway, yeah, that's my point.
So
but I think
have another intervention from Member Malahoo Ford. I'm happy for her previous intervention. I do have a challenge with us having to suspend the standing orders so frequently. And very often it is because we are already, like one of my greatest pet peeves, setting time limits for debate, setting time limits for various elements of our discourse. And we'll set the time limit at 15 minutes. I know the only adjustment I remember, even though it wasn't initially placing the standing orders and later done, was to double the time. And it was say double to 30 minutes. And after that, we were still suspending the standing orders to allow us to speak for 45 minutes and 1 hour. So the essence and the thinking that the standing orders are there but are just absolutely irrelevant to what the House would like to do is something that needs to be fixed. And now that we are in a process of looking at and revising the standing orders, I believe we have to make that effort to have them really work and work in the way that we would want them to going forward for an extended time, so that we are not back here revising the standing orders in another year. Member Malahoo, for it.
Madam Chairman, I think the matter of the suspension of the standing orders may be one that we will have to discuss at length, but based on the discussion so far, where a request is granted for a standing order to be suspended, then it is only the order that is suspended. All other orders remain operational.
Absolutely. I think all of us should be very clear on that, committee members. So it would be only that standing order that is being suspended, and only for that one instance that it is being suspended also. To do so again for another situation of the same would require a request for suspension and that being granted.
To go back to the issue of the court's approach and what the research shows in respect of judicially reviewing the regulation of proceedings by the House. So the Constitution grants the House the power to regulate its own proceedings. And as a general rule, the court will not interfere via judicial review in that, the exercise of that power. In the exceptional circumstances, the extent of the review, as shown by research, is really to see if any rule that apply in its own regulation has been applied. And the more political a decision is, the less the judicial review will be of that decision as a general rule in public law under the heading of judicial review. So that I know even recently in our jurisdiction, our courts reiterated the position that the power to regulate its proceedings is granted constitutionally to the Parliament, and the court will not interfere. But in the exceptional circumstances, the review would be limited to a scrutiny of whether applicable rules have been applied in the own regulation of proceedings.
Thanks, Member. Sean, we are going to go off mic for a second. So off mic, I was just wondering if a decision taken prior not to table a report that was in court was the question being asked, but it wasn't. And I figured it still conforms with the way we operate, because ultimately we regulate the activities of the Parliament here, and any decision wouldn't be one being forced by the judiciary, but one taking into consideration some amount of deference to the fact that an issue is in court and making the decision here at the Parliament how to treat with same. So,
and this goes all the way back to the Bill of Rights in the 1600s. This is sort of a core kind of principle of Westminster-style democracy, which is, judges would never be checking whether the House's internal proceedings are sort of right, correct, but there is always that relationship with the Constitution itself, and I think that's that point. Is Parliament sort of overstepping its mark and taking powers that aren't subject to it? Its powers are relate to its regulation of its own work rather than the work of others. So aside from through legislation, but then when that legislation is passed and that goes into the legislative sphere and then can be ruled upon by the court. So it's that separation of powers hopefully working effectively. Well, and again,
Sean, with one exception, if there are decisions taken by the chair that breach the constitutional rights, any breach of constitution, that is when the judiciary, appeal to would more likely than not, as indicated by Member Malahuford, really take, a keen interest in our activities and whether or not we are in breach of the constitutional rights of any individual or body of individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully that's clear. And again, this is something that I think we spoke about this when I was in Jamaica, that, my expertise is broad, and grounded in Westminster, UK, but with a broad experience from sort of working across various Commonwealth parliaments. But this is why it's so important that it comes into committee for debate discussion now, so that your expertise in the kind of in the legal sphere of Jamaica specifically, and of course of which I'm not specifically trained, can come to the fore, and you can make sure that these points are really clear. and it's why this is the jumping off point, and hopefully it's an easier jumping off point than it would have been previously, because I've come at it with that sort of impartial clarity, make it easy to work through and amend and discuss. But that's where the expertise comes in every time. So yeah, I wouldn't answer for your specific domestic circumstances, I suppose. It was a simple way of saying it.
Thank you. An intervention from Member Paulwell?
Yes. Sean, just one final question from me. But before I go, it's just clear that you're not a football lover, because you would not be on this call if no, Argentina won 3-2. 3-2. So I hope I'm giving you news from Jamaica.
Well, I am a football lover, sadly, but I'm also a lover of standing orders. So when your two loves meet. Anyway, sorry. What was the what was the question?
So I'm trying to look at the overriding principles that govern the operations of Parliament. And I know that there's always the basis of the principle of reasonableness in terms of how we interpret these standing orders, even-handedness, and impartiality. But I'm wondering if there is another principle that seeks to, in promoting democracy, seeks to promote, even as you go for even-handedness, the interest of the minority over the majority. There's a principle in companies law and Foster and Arbuckle where there is always if there is erring, to err in favor of the minority. Is there such a principle that guides the standing orders and their interpretation across the Commonwealth?
There is absolutely, and that is an area which, again, is often ruled on by the Speaker. So, I mean, you'll see, for example, but you won't see of this, but if you were to go to arrangement of debates and how debates need to be organised, there are at least two provisions that I can find quickly about sort of adjournment debates. Adjournment of debate should be put immediately unless the Speaker rules that they're an abuse of procedure or infringe on minority rights. Again, on closure of debate, should be put immediately unless ruled to be out of order or infringements of the rights of the minority of members. So yes, there is a fundamental principle that control of time really is governed by the business. It's the elected government, but there should always be due regard to the role and rights of the minority parties in the House. Again, it's why you have an official opposition. There are certain rights afforded to these sorts of things. So, yes, there is. And it is not just in Jamaica. It's a principle Commonwealth-wide.
Sean, I would want to make sure that we also clarify Jamaica is a little different. We have two-party system almost. Many of the other countries have several minority parties. And I think we need to be very specific about that, because I hear the question, and I had a practice when I just became Speaker of giving significant deference to the opposition. Yeah, absolutely. No, I can tell you. Whether or not they felt it, knew it, or understood or appreciated it. And I'm going to give them specific examples. This current budget debate, the standing orders allow about 75% of the amount of time allowed for the government, for the opposition to respond. In this last debate, it was 50-50. As a matter of fact, by the time we were finished, I gave more time to the opposition than the government, but they would not have appreciated same unless it is said to them. And I took that stance going along. But as a system, as a system, in the amount of speaking time, no, man, I could have done that, but I didn't. I didn't reduce the opposition's time. I
mean, there are a lot of provisions within the standing orders that protect the role of the opposition.
What happens when you get to a system, Sean, where it is a two-party government, meaning government and opposition, and there is no real minority group? The opposition.
Well, I mean, the official opposition becomes by virtue of not being the government, is that smaller group. So it's not necessarily 2 or 3 people, although it might be. But, you know, I mean, the things are slightly different in the UK now, but for all intents and purposes, it's been a pretty solidly kind of 2-party system for a long time, Conservative and Labour, and things go up and down in smaller parties, and we do have them. But you still have this official opposition, and it's the roles and rights of the official opposition, and that is throughout these standing orders very clear, you know, where they need to be consulted, where they need to be, so it's really clear throughout that.
Very clear.
I mean, arrangement of debate, and I think maybe this is not necessarily for the procedure committee, because I think we've talked about this a lot when I was at the seminar, and also we were talking about it now. But that's very much about a kind of a culture discussion about when you disregard standing orders, how long people take. You know, standing orders can only do so much. Standing orders will never, they can't make people, particularly when you can disregard them and you're willing to do so, they're not the fix-all problem, but the point of this exercise was to remove them from being another potential problem, if that makes sense. So you're debating less about the standing orders because they're clear and everyone's agreed on them. Time limits is a difficult one, because as you say, you set a time limit and that becomes the ceiling, and then people push up and up. There are different ways of doing it. I mean, in the UK, for example, there is a little bit of an understanding of how long people speak for, but what will generally happen is the speaker will set a time limit for everyone. Now, that's different, and it's not something that would happen, but they might say, everybody, I can see there's 30 people in here, and we've got however long, so I'm going to give everyone 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, but, you know, 50 minutes. But that's a different system, and that's a big change. So that's where you kind of, as a procedure committee, you can think about how you want that to operate. But again, it also relies on people sticking to those time limits. So, yeah, it's again that point around how far can standing orders actually go. They could only go so far, but then it becomes a decision for the members of the House as to how they want to conduct themselves vis-a-vis those standing orders.
Let Fun In with 3.
We have some more intervention, Sean, when you have a chance. Member Buchanan, then Mallow Ford, then Member Brownberg.
Thank you. Sean, I'm bringing your attention to clause 25, which is a new insertion. That would be the sub judice clause.
Yeah.
Now, there is a definition of sub judice in the definition section. And it simply says, for the purpose of standing orders, and I'm going to assume it says XX, but whichever one, it refers to a matter that is before the court and awaiting adjudication. Now, the problem I'm having is we have not codified, but what is understood to be the doctrine of separations of powers. Yeah. So sub judice, as I understand it, the object and purpose of the sub judice rule is that the litigant may be affected because the matter would be going before a jury. What happens here, and the court has pretty much decided on what sub judice when it is that you breach a sub judice rule. And if matters are going before judges in civil jurisdiction, then those matters would not be sub judice unless a judge indicates that you're not to speak on the matter. But certainly there's in clause 25, it sets out for the purposes. It defines sub judice differently, and I'm wondering if it's to be called that because it's not operating as sub judice, and it actually weakens the power of the court. It sends a message that judges are influenced by matters outside. When we have rulings that is distinct, judges say Parliament can conduct their affairs as long as it's not repugnant to the Constitution, as well as the judges, they rule as if nothing is happening. The court of public opinion, it is assumed and perceived that when judges rule, they're not affected by outside influences. Yeah. So it kind of sends, so I need to know whether or not the doctrine of separations of powers was considered here, because it appears to be, well, my submission to you or to the host is that it's a bit problematic. If it's something we should revisit.
I take your point, and I think, again, this is one of the areas I highlighted on the way through, because it's one of those areas that you're wanting to discuss. What you have in front of you in the main thing, and I think the definitions, they can change, but I'd focus on the main orders. That is, give or take, the kind of UK approach, but with regard, through discussions, to what I consider to be the Jamaican domestic context. If I take what you're saying correctly, it's that there's sort of an assumption that they wouldn't be influenced, and so it's not a problem, and it need not necessarily be said. And apologies if I've misunderstood you. I think this is about what Parliament does. So this is Parliament saying to itself, we will not. So we're demonstrating our respect to the separation of the courts, that we won't seek to unduly influence. I wouldn't say that it suggests that they would be, but equally, it just removes that possibility. So they shouldn't provide the opportunity to comment on something that's ongoing in the courts, because it could fuel speculation, or you could be using politics to, even if it doesn't change the judge's opinion, to influence public opinion about what that opinion would be if you're anticipating you're not liking it. So again, these rules aren't aimed at anyone in particular, but this is a pretty standard provision that's used in many jurisdictions, and it's one that I put in there. But similarly, it's one that would definitely need to be discussed for people who have considerably more experience, to say the least, of your domestic context and how that works. So again, I think, as I've said, I've presented what I think is a workable, clear best practice, but it is for the House to regulate, and you are, in this context, the House, and can discuss that. So hopefully I was clear in what you were suggesting.
There's a follow-up from Member Buchanan, and then a follow-up from Member Green.
Thank you. You were, Sean, is just there is the constitutional implication. Because I don't know if it was considered that as it is written, it is just clear in breach of the Charter. So we're including...
it's not... So I was going to say, it's not something that I intended to do.
Right.
It may have been an accident that arises from my lack of understanding of the Jamaican Constitution. I've read it several times now, but you guys are, many of you, I'm sure, in that room, scholars of it. So please, where you see a contradiction or an issue, that's exactly where your insight and expertise is welcome as the procedure committee.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Sean, for your presentation. I think it's excellent, and for the work that you have done in putting this together. I wanted to pick up on this point, because I do believe that in the move you've made in 25 has brought a significant clarity to the underlying principle that we have been practicing. And I for one, as you have said it, and I know it will engender a lot of debate as we go through looking at our new standing orders, but I for one believe that clearly Parliament can say, by way of rules, how it will treat with these matters. And I would say, I will go further. I would say Parliament should say, so that it is not left for one to determine based on the matter that is before the court. Because I think the fact that a matter has been brought before the court, and I always believe that the overarching spirit of the standing orders have always been that Parliament should not do anything that, whether by way of perception, directly or indirectly, frustrates the process of the court. And there are a number of things that can be done in this House, especially because we are covered by a broad privilege to speak extremely freely without fear of prosecution on any matter in this House outside of what is excluded. So I think clearly excluding these matters that are before the court and saying it up front so that it is known makes a lot of sense. But I know we will have a lot of discussions about it. It is a very topical issue. But again, I think sometimes we have the discussions because, I think the reforms that we're making with our court system to ensure that these matters are dealt with expeditiously will also help in relation to ensuring that Parliament does not frustrate the process of the court. But thank you in general, and I'm sure we will have robust debate on some of these provisions. But I do not think it contradicts the Charter at all.
Yeah, and as I said, I mean, it's a prohibiting. I suppose it's a prohibiting output as opposed to a consideration of input. But yeah, thank you for that contribution. But as I said, I'll defer to the legal expertise, of which I know is voluminous in the room, to work out the exact issues with it.
Member Malahoo Fort, if you still have your intervention.
Madam Chairman, I wanted to just go back to the issue that was raised about the minority voice and the provisions in the standing orders. I believe that we should be careful not to conflate an issue of privilege with an issue of how decisions are taken in a democracy, because in the democratic process, it is a majority voice that carries the majority vote, and you see that provided for constitutionally and in the regulations by how a vote is taken, and that is always how it is determined. But then there is the issue of privilege, which protects the right of each member of the House to participate on equal footing in the debates. And those matters, if a matter of privilege arises, it is to be treated in priority to all other matters, because that, in effect, how it is resolved will determine whether a member is being obstructed in his or her rights and powers as a member of the Parliament to carry out the duties. So I think we just have to be mindful that there is a difference between the two, and the proposed rules must also clarify that matter. An analogy of minority rules under company law would be unhelpful for these purposes. Just right.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not that, you know, as you say, that I think, and I maybe wasn't clear enough, the fundamental point is that the majority wins the election and therefore has the power to implement its will, and actually the things that are given to the opposition are in many ways given. So, you know, the opposition to contribute, but they are given in the standing orders, and the House agrees that there are rights that under the House's rules, the opposition has to contribute in certain ways and to be consulted in certain areas. And hopefully I've tried to include those in the most appropriate way. But again, for further discussion, I'm sure.
Let Fun In with 3.
Member Bromberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I realize that we don't have much time to go, so I want to add my own thanks to Sean for all the work that he has done and for today's session. Just quickly about 25(2)(b), for example, in today's current environment, no, the new 25, which is the same one about the sub judice matter, renders that whole standing order a real joke, because what you end up actually doing is allowing an individual member, for example, who is the matter of an issue that may come to court, to actually put it in court so that the Parliament then would not be bound. If this were to come into effect, the Parliament would then not be able to actually discuss the matter. And I believe that that would be a travesty of justice and an abuse of the privilege of Parliament in passing such a standing order. So that's one. I also wanted to ask Sean about two things. Let me start with one that might be less contentious. The leader of government business and the leader of opposition business, whose roles are not fully developed in the standing orders. I believe that there must be some other jurisdictions where we have a greater appreciation for the role of these two individuals. And I think that as we look to amend the standing orders, that is something that we need to look at. How can we make sure that their roles are clearly defined and that they have what is it now, the right of reply in some instances, for example, or that they are codified. So I'd like to have your opinion on that. Secondly, in terms of, I'm pleased that we are looking at the role of the speaker in particular and looking at that. I believe, though, that currently the speaker has too much discretion, and what happens when discretion is so large is that you, at some point, no longer discuss the rules, but you discuss the speaker, since it is the speaker's discretion. I believe that one of the things we need to do is to remove that large discretion and codify how certain decisions are to be taken so that we can begin to be more objective. When there's a loss of trust, when there is a feeling of bias, it is important that the speaker becomes an individual who implements the rules, but doesn't make them up as he or she goes. And I believe that that is one of the things, as we go through this, that we have to make sure that we do that. And coming back to the issue of government versus opposition, the role of the speaker in being an fair arbiter of the conversation and the discourse, I think is an important one that we cannot continue to diminish.
Welcome to Harlan's Bank, Revolut.
Yeah, I'll respond to both of those in kind, if that is helpful. So on the role of the Leader of the Opposition and the Leader of the House, so those are now defined quite clearly, I'd hope, in the general definitions at the end. So I don't know exactly what page it's on, but in the full draft, we have quite clear about Leader of Government Business in the House and Leader of Opposition Business in the House, who they are, what they are, and then they're referred to quite extensively through the standing orders to explain, what they do and the role they have in each of those situations. So hopefully that is kind of good news from your perspective on that. On the speaker and the role of the speaker, so, naturally I won't get engaged in concerns over, individual decisions or debates that are taking place, because that's not the role of the standing orders or me. The role of the speaker is to implement the standing orders, and one of the points of this exercise was to make the standing orders a lot clearer, so there was less debate about what wasn't meant to happen. So I would hope that an outcome of this would make everyone clearer, in terms of the easier structuring, the process-driven approach, the simpler language, the updating to processes so that everything is more explicit. So even on the point, I can't remember exactly what it was we were talking about before, I think it was suspension of standing orders. There are now 2 additional bits to that, which explain how that would happen in practice, rather than just, they can do this, here's the process by which they might do it. So I think those would be my 2 answers, really. The definitions are there, and if you want to discuss tightening them up or making them more explicit, very, very happy to do so, or defer to your expertise on that. And then on the role of the speaker, that this is the speaker's role is to rule on the standing orders, and I think the speaker, in place at the moment, was keen to make these clearer so the rulings could be clearer. But again, it's probably not something for me to get too involved in, aside from making those rules as good as I possibly can for all parties in the House.
Sean, thank you for that intervention. I will reiterate in closing, we're at 1:30, that as a committee and as a parliament, we do appreciate the work done over the last year or so. Initially, the perspective was that it was only being driven by the Speaker, and the Speaker is adjusting the standing order to the current Speaker's suit. It was not the case, yep. And the commentary and perspective that you can codify the standing orders to remove the power of the Speaker is never going to happen in any jurisdiction. There are always going to be, there's always going to be the need for the Speaker to be the umpire and the chair in a committee to be the umpire over the activity. So we are making every effort to...
So that woman a lie, you know, because she just a try to talk because the guy is on the panel and is like, she a try to do some. But you know, you see when Parliament open again, nothing when them talk here so will change. She will go back to the same old motive, right? And there's no joke about that because you have now with she a talk like this, and you she a talk strong, she wrong and strong, you know. So them are gonna go back to the same thing. Because you want me to say now, PMP sit there and them not really rebuke her and think that, yeah, well, Angela Brownberg said something, but that is kind of soft to me. Because yeah, other things what them say and them just keep quiet. If it was the JLP, you know, them are gonna blow it out. You know, have to deal with it in a no disrespectful way. But rebuke them and say, well, look, no. There's a lot of things. Angela talk something like a while, say, yeah, can't tolerate with her behavior. But she don't talk it on a level where it's soft. So that's why she come now and I respond, you know, indirectly to Angela Brownberg thing what she raised just now. And you know she's strong. She had defend what she do before. So you know I'll get no better, you know, as far as me see, you know. The only time you can get better is when them gone, remove them completely. No longer have no rascal, no ties. This is a woman and her husband. Yeah, man. Only say I'll get it. But once them is there, them gonna be wrong and strong continually. And that's all it is. Because them not show no remote support them do. So this, she don't talk like this because the brother is on the panel, whether on Zoom or whatever. And, you know, he's a part of the rascal, you know, the whole process of drafting up and do the reform, right? But him not have a lot of argument neither. But he showing you talk good this, so. But wait till when Parliament resume September. And say for the same thing as usual. Yeah, man. Because the pimping are really, them have the chance now to really, I'm sure, and just come out and talk. This is politics. If it was them on the other side, oh, blood clot. They would be like, say, well, then it's a war, same speed. It won't matter if it's a community. You know what I mean? But that's what I talk all the while, you know. So sometimes PMP party have to get up and draw them whip. You know what I mean? And start to whip these people more frequently. Yeah, man. But them just whip and draw back. You can't work like that. Fight fire with fire. That's how me see it. Yeah. Because them go back to the same old fucking motive again. You should talk and defend strong, wrong and strong, you know. And I try to defend what she do. Because Angela Brownberg says something very important, you know. But she said too soft. She should say it more serious. But this is what the PMP them, you know. They don't really bow like Labour right. And Labour right will win by them boldness and them arrogance. You know what I mean? Because that is politics, you know. Why you think Donald Trump so popular? All of them unpopular, him still do the things them be more unpopular and him still stand up. Whether even in opposition or him fucking in a government. So them things they have to take a note out of them on the book right you know, because in the end of the day, JLP I do a lot of wrongs in the country for the people them, Jamaican people them, and them still get away with it. Imagine that. Me no know. Still get away with it. Technically.
Codify, to clarify, to make as detailed as possible the standing orders to ensure that those of us here as parliamentarians understand it, and even for the benefit of the public, they understand as well. That is very important, so that when decisions are made, we are absolutely clear this is what the standing order calls for. The Speaker benefits from it, and every other member of the House, and every member of the population who has the interest in looking at how we administer our affairs. And that is why we embarked on this process that, as I said, we have not done in a long time. I cannot overemphasize the contribution made also by the current clerk of the Parliament of Jamaica and the legal officers of the Parliament of Jamaica and the team here, because the administrative team sat down with Sean and did the majority of that work, and came to present and to ask questions initially of the Speaker, and presented a draft which we are now looking at and interrogating at the committee level to move on from here to our entire Parliament. I must say, Sean, it is instructive that member states right across the Caribbean Commonwealth have been in discussions. Speakers from across the Commonwealth have been in discussions. They've actually asked us for a copy of our draft. We have said, let us finish the process and then we'll be happy to share, because they are taking note of the process.
Elijah tell you, them tell us tell BFS lie all the while. Them can't tell so much lie, but other Caribbean ask them for a copy of them draft of the standing order. What the fuck, yo?
Are engaged in here in Jamaica. And I found it strange because even Trinidad and Tobago said they want to take a look at what we are doing. They do not want to be reinventing the wheel. And as a parliament, we are very happy once we complete this process to join the pool of Commonwealth countries who can be used as a talking point, as the standard, when you're looking at what our best practices. We would love to hear Jamaica is where we will look to best practice in terms of its standing orders. The Senate for the Jamaican House of Representatives they recently went.
Yeah, that may I say, yeah, of course, Angela Brownberg was, yeah, she had tried to be nice and things like that. Work with these people. And it was the other side on JLP, they come rough, rugged. They don't know skinning up thing. PMP too nice and decent, and that now will get them away. You know how long I taught them things there? I taught them things there from the election, blood clam or run. I'm not going to come out. Now, no time. Quick time, quick and fast, and concede. And go further. I'm not going to really challenge none of the seats them and nothing. I'm going to just leave it. All them things there. So from see all them things that happen, I cannot say, well, I don't even know what to say sometimes. Because in the end of the way, if Angela Brownberg, yeah, she asks a good question with the Speaker. But she asks, like, say, well, then she have big friend her. I don't know. That is, you have to have some brass clout in your man. And looking her right in her face. And make sure, remember, Angela go through some things already with the maze, where she want to fucking suspend her and call Marshall upon her. So now when I get a chance and we have like a petticoat, I'm afraid for them people that them will be or something. I mean, I understand. When opposition, I never see some opposition I hate, so weak, brother. And I have no clout, no guts. Yo, I'll be glad a lot of people I see how me I see it still,
Through the process, they continue to look at their own standing orders, and we're looking forward to sharing this with them once we're finished, because we thought we could benefit so much from looking at the amendments made by the Senate. And now that we have gone through this process and seen how you have organized us and the mechanism and the flow it is so much easier now to understand and to follow the standing orders as they are redrafted that I believe our own Senate will benefit from what we are doing in the House. We thank you for the time.
Nobody not gonna benefit. You're gonna go back to the old same thing you're gonna do before. You just wait till September when this thing. Now it's gonna worse because they want to call on the PMP because they have them dirty work linen for fucking hang out with the NARA all them things there. And them in a lot of trouble. So them not gonna really it's gonna be the same thing. This is just a talking shop, you know. Yeah, this is just a talking shop. Because even Sean, you know, he might talk and it's like, even you know, have certain power. They want somebody with power to come and when them lay something down, it become law. It's a talking shop, as far as me say. I now go nowhere. It don't gonna suit JLP, not the PMP. Because the PMP them not really firing panel cylinder. As far as me say, it's not a heated type of really. You don't have to really eat it and disrespectful, you know. But really, throw your card out there. Let them know, say, well, then, we don't have clout. But there's no clout there. Yeah.
And the effort, the contribution, the level of research that has gone into this process. And we are committed to ensuring that in this current session.
A liar tell committee. You see, she get talk because Sean did, you know. And my ear, you know. But this woman, she's going to go back to them, her same old nastiness. Look at her. She take people for fool, you know. And the PMP, them sit down there and blah, 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 and things like, yo. They really fuck up.
Of the Parliament, we are able to get this done and implement our new and updated standing orders, which will better guide our proceedings. Thank you very much on behalf of myself and the administrative team of the Parliament, and I dare say all our membership of the committee. We are most grateful. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Is it possible for us to adopt the minutes at this time?
I have two corrections, Madam Speaker. On page 1, paragraph 3, an apology for lateness instead of absence.
Who? Yeah.
Minutes of the meeting of the Standing Orders Committee. So to amend,
we will take that correction.
To delete
Yes, you
the
did
word
come in.
absence and substitute with lateness, and to remove.
No, it's not correct at all. What we're going to do, we're going to remove it from apologies, and it needs to go into the attendance section. So it will be so corrected.
No, it is there, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, what a big mistake what she make, and she's a fucking house speaker. All the while she do that, you know. She talks like she confidence, and the lawyer, Malibu, tell her, say this is there. And she's supposed to have the same rascal read up the same copy. And she attack fuckery. So she embarrassed herself right herself. Here it is.
An apology.
Yes, so corrected.
It's just on page 1.
Thank you.
And
Noted.
where a
Next.
hyphen appears in the name,
Lord Jesus,
between Malahu and Forth, to be deleted on all pages.
Thank you very much, Member Malahu Fort, for that correction to your name.
Your Honor, shame, you know. She adamantly go and say, well, then, no, and I try to tell the woman something different. And she have a note where she read from, just like them. And them, that's why I said that when I want evil rascal. Yo, me tell you something, you know. Because she want to really, but you know, she had done still a certain way too, you know. Because at least Malibu, who is a lawyer and a retired judge. So she have more clout more than she. I say, yeah, she laugh now and I go and I say, well, then, shame, you know.
So remove the hyphen. Thank you.
Having
Member
read
Paul,
through.
you have a correction? You have another one?
So I'd like to move for the confirmation of the minutes and to raise one matter
As
rising.
corrected.
Anything in
That's
here?
corrected, yes.
Yeah.
Just one matter rising. Yes, yes, yes.
So I will take the mover for the adoption as Member Paulwell, seconded by Member Malahoo Ford, and Member Paulwell has a matter arising.
Right. Madam Chair, we had inquired at last sitting to enable us to be able to deal with our caucus, whether or not we can see a soft copy.
I spoke to you privately. We're still having a challenge in terms of...
This is the most interesting part, you know, when we listen to this fucking shit, you know, because if you're in a parliament, it's supposed to be really a fire off of every cylinder. What kind of problem you can have to get copy out to the people? If they come with them things all the while, and you know what going to happen now? Paul will not going to really rebuke her and talk up and say, no, that cannot happen because right here, let's listen it.
Stamping draft across them. Even today, we were having a challenge, just printing. So I'm working on that. Yeah.
What kind of fucking challenge them can have printing copy in a parliament when they're supposed to have all the best equipment them? Me not understand this. Printing copy supply to the rest of parliament MP them. What kind of fucking problem them can have? To do printing, what kind of difficulty? And you mean say Paul will go get quiet, go just quiet and leave it and not say nothing and a rebuke her. I said nothing like that can't go like that. You know, see how fucking them are going with the PNP them. She come with this shit, say them have problem by printing copy. Or can you have problem by printing copy in a them fucking mothering time, man? You can't just go down in the news and get the best photocopy them. And this is a parliament. Where and this woman come with this a little idiot thing, and Paul will just sit down and just take it. That's why I say them people, you know, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to trust, and you don't know what go on really. And then the first it happens still, you know. I remember, you know, the same Paul will you see there, you know, him the second hour when she get the House of Speaker, him stand up on the PNP side and say him second it when Andrew Holness announced it. He second it. Yo. Me don't know.
Only the first 4 pages we were able to do. And I do not know why. So I'm going to take the...
Only 4 pages them was allowed to do. To photocopy something. That is not a blatant fucking lie and misleading. And you mean say the fucking PNP, them sit down there and say nothing, and say how foolish is that? Nothing can go so. What can go so? Yo. That's why sometimes they see me talk, you know. I mean, I say, well, then, them opposition are really against, you know. Don't want to come with a little idiot thing, having difficulty with printing things, copy to issue out to the people, them. How can be, me don't understand that, you know. And the opposition then did not say nothing. I said around the blood clot, back of the Ross clot class. I said that can't happen. Foolishness. So they make she get away with this. So what am I gonna make she get away with next? They sure say, well then opposition and not teeth, you know. Them teeth not sharp enough. That's all I can say.
Document my...
I mean I thought that was a true Ross clot, born PMP. Yeah.
Self and see even if it means copy.
Look when the man come talk a fucking foolishness a while. But having difficulty of printing brass cloths on paper to hand out, make everybody can have a copy. That can happen at Westminster in England. Everybody right away upon the dot, them get them copy. And she come out with this shit. Them having a difficulty. Printing brass cloth, making photocopy. And the PMP them sit down there and she get away with that. No, sir.
Copying it into some other format, more updated format to see what can be done. How many pages? Is it 4 or 5?
It would therefore delay our.
Yeah. So how many?
Oh, man, you can proceed, man, on the honor of members.
Oh, Member Paulwell, what the clerk of the committee is saying, the copy you have is the copy for the file, for the records, and he has not been able to duplicate that process. We are having some challenges, technological challenges. So I'm going to see to what extent we can go further, because it is more efficient if we're able to do so. If not, we push ahead with this in the interim. Member Malahuford?
May I propose, Madam Chairman, in the interest of time, that consideration be given to releasing the draft document on the honor of members, that it be treated as a draft in the absence of the watermark.
Yes, I think we were able to get a watermark on at least the first 4 pages of the draft. We were able to do that.
Even Malabo not happy with her, you know. And she's on her side. They're on the same rascal bench, you know. She not happy with her. You can see the reaction of her face. And the PMP, them did their now, rascal said nothing. Make this man, I tell you, you know. So when people talk, say, well, in PMP, weak. Anybody have blood clot that say something different, you know, mad. I tell you that because I mean, understand. Yo, this is a foolishness. Having difficulty for printing things. Oh. Everybody have blood clot printer. Me have 2 printer here. We can print anywhere else like copy easy. One lined up, nice copy. Depends on the paper that we have. You have better quality paper. Boom, boom, boom. And you print some things. Right in me, who shot me there? Me have it here, so me have it over so. Printer. 2 printer me have. So you can have a house of parliament. We're supposed to we govern the rascal country. Them supposed to have all the rascal up-to-date equipment them there. And then they're supposed to have one. If one fail, they're supposed to have a next rascal option. And you go come talk like that about having difficulty. And Paul will don't say nothing and just sit down and take it and say, hold on. What? Yo, no. This is fuckery. I don't know.
Okay, so, all right. So I think that will go well for all members. So if we don't have any objections, we will do so. All right.
I'm happy that has happened, Madam Speaker, because it brings us to the issue of homework. If we're going to be able to complete this, there are some significant. The comprehensive comparative analysis is an excellent roadmap, which is user-friendly for all persons. So I'm assuming that there are some hot topics in 2026, which includes dress code.
The dress code is wide. It includes visitors to the parliament.
I know, but
it includes possibly deciding that we would like to wear Bermuda shorts instead.
Well, maybe only in the summer, Madam Speaker, but certainly that one aspect of it, as well as the interpretation section. I'm just calling it out on record so that in terms of clause 2, what interpretation looks like, even with formalities, because that's going to be significant moving forward. I do think that the structure is a lot much easier and user-friendly and should be able to understand, but there's going to be the issue of interpretation, and so on a matter of homework, if that's the best way to use it, that I'm just encouraging members here to read, as well as the document is released, we actually have other persons, other members to look at it to give their contribution.
Thank you so much. Appreciated, and we so will.
So the woman, JULIET, let's get with murder again in a committee like this. When no one come talk pure bullshit, that's so. You think it was a JLP, them on a blood clot and ring the alarm and a sound out some trumpet. Okay, you can talk about difficulty printing something. Everybody get a copy so them can know and brief themselves, know what they and what and things like that. That's how Parliament run. And you gotta sit down and the woman tell you that bullshit and answer story about having difficulty. A delay shall delay. And that's for them strategy all the while. And them the opposition, them supposed to know that. And then make them get away with them things there all the while and sit down like a clown. They must have work with them. I mean, I understand what's going on, because sometimes we might, let me tell you something, man. If I even England Parliament are the same thing. Nobody could come in and foolishness about people don't question it. And them have to give blood clot proof. You know, just talk out your mouth like that. That will not go on, that will not happen in any Westminster Parliament. Somebody come with them thing about people want them copy, because everybody's supposed to get a copy of something where them are debate at the Parliament. So them can know exactly what them are. So how you go talk about it, you have difficulty printing. And them not so long and question it. What kind of when you say about Westminster, England, anyway them bring that, they want to bring it in the first place, because they might corrupted, but not like this. Not BFA's corrupted. They want to show proof. When just take it like that. If it was a JLP, you see, they want to kick up a storm. And I tell you, say, look, same thing when I talk here, so we know if you know exactly how. You know what I mean? They want to take it like that. So you see, I don't know what's going on. All I can say is debate that accept certain things, and that's all it is. Because I don't know. Then people make you really look out, So she get away with it, just like that, and she all right. What's going on? What's going on in the Parliament? Do PMP get rascal science and Wobia? Do the JLP Wobia work on them? And, I thought that a few times, as a joke. But sometimes when you talk as a joke, it can be reality, to be truthful. And I mean, alone I thought that, because it's like a spell them put on them, so them can't really respond what they're supposed to respond. Because now, man, it's like you have Angela Brown there, you have Philip Palwell, you have Isaac Buchanan, right, from the PMP. But you mean to say, even Isaac come with something and say, well then, him say, well then do your homework. That's why homework is important. But then again, that, I don't know, that kind of really, I don't know, brother. I don't want to
the item.
I lost for words upon this, to be truthful. I lost for words.
Of interpretation at clause 2 is literally to minimize the need for us to interpret. That is really what it is. It is making the language easier, more.
You just watch her body language and her face when she talk. Be a bullshit she chat, And you see, but I don't know. This man need to mash down her argument completely, mash her down. But then make them get away. Then make she get away with it every fucking nonsense of share chat. I mean, no nonsense. Because me know about politics, world politics, local politics. Happen like that. Could never happen in Westminster. And Westminster and Jamaica have the same model. One country where you have difficulty printing blood clot paper to deliver to the MP them. What kind of difficulty? You put some, and them things are supposed to do from, if you don't know, them things are supposed to just do. You see now, Westminster now, them things that have to do and ready for the people them. And them just hand them out. But them people are delay and not pay delay tactics for some reason. Them do it so many times when we see in all different type of levels. But I don't know, brother. I don't know. I'm get weary, to be truthful.
Foolproof in the average individual reading and understanding the very same thing. So it is not left to high science, legal luminaries, and the speaker to be able to interpret. So that is the intent at this segment, and we will benefit from it. I know that some members jokingly cite standing orders and interpret them not in the way that they know the average person would. And I know the individual is laughing at himself. But I know you actually quite get.
And to be truthful, no disrespect. Look at her woman. She look like a witch with you, She look like a witch. She doesn't. There's something about her, man. Wicked witch. With all of makeup on her face and things like that. And to be truthful, she get old and she get uglier and weirder. And I truth. When she younger, she was nice, as me show now. Pan the thumbnail. But look at she now. You can't see the wickedness. That's them always be like that, She don't have no beauty in her. She does a try. And I truth. She does a try. The whole of makeup and the clothes them now go help you because you have to have the beauty within. Whether you get wool and whatever. But you have a witchy look, evil look, and a plastic smile. Yeah, man, plastic smile. You whiten up your teeth them, and the whitening teeth don't fit you. Better you keep your natural teeth or something. And that's true. Because someone don't get the fucking money, thief the money and overdo it for yourself. And because the sin of the people is an honor. Because people can't get no bed, people in a fucking wheelchair, and only can fucking look like a fucking king and queen, all them rascal thing there. Half a taxpayers' money. Not worth it. Not deserve it. And that's why the sin must show up on now. Yeah, man.
And understand, because we have had the discussions, and every effort is meant to do so. I remember citing to Member Brownberg that when I read the standing orders the very first time, how I operated with questions and answers to questions was tighter than how I do now. Because having read it again, I'm saying, no, I think I can give some more leeway, which is what I do.
Lie tell again, and lie tell again. This one I never give no leeway. She definitely come into the parliament like a terrorist against the PNP party them. And them can't have a word in. And when she says something, she mean it. So she'll tell lie and them not say nothing. You can't go on. Yeah? You can't go on.
I give far more than I say loud. Yeah, so I before we used to cut off at 5-6 persons. I remember when in my last jurisdiction, now I allow everybody to ask.
A liar, you should want, you see, you call this bare-face lie, Just to make a, but that's how the Labour Party bill up offer. Just bare-face lie in your face. Anybody will support them. That's why nation wrong and them people just can't talk some things and they don't care. They don't have no credibility. They don't talk. And that is a norm right now. So it's so stick. So boy, sometimes you say, might as well nobody even talk about it. But maybe talk about it, how me see it. Because she the right, so now I tell some bare-face lie. What she give. Who should you change? Instead of your change, you get worse at JULIET. Because you like your carry up belly, and you're on a mission, and I thought them things that when nothing go so. I'm outside, and I can't see what go on. Other people can't see what go on. You too fucking lie. You evil. Yeah. Too lie.
Question.
You lie, your husband lie, the whole Rascal party is a lying machine. Then again, that's what JLP stand for, Yeah. J for Jamaica, L for lie, and P for party. Jamaica Liar Party. That's what it stands for. Simple as that. Yeah. Because them just tell lie for a joke, as far as them. And you see bare-face lie in your face, and then the people them dead if you rebuke her and not say nothing. And she just get rid of it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, to be truthful. And them things make me really cross, Yeah.
Particularly because it benefits what you would consider the minority. So deference has been given by me as Speaker and Chair No, seriously, to ensure that there's a balance to give the opposition as much, opportunity to partake. That is usually very appreciated, but God help me the day that I said no. But every effort is made. But when you say no, and so we have to start to get, so when you say no, you have to still work with the speaker in the same way as when the speaker say yes. Thank you.
I was having about false teeth, also buff. She overdo it. She overdo it. She overdo it. Like a buff tea shop. She call her Buffy Julie. Buffy Julie. You do your teeth, but I don't know about that teeth. It look out of place. Buff. You smile and do that broad smile. If you think it look good, well, to me, I know when blood clot things look good, especially when it comes to woman. No joke about that. So, me no business what everybody want to say. What me see, I what me see. And what me see, I what me I say. Yeah? Because me is a rascal critics. Of all critics, same speed. I mean a rascal biased critics neither. If it's something for criticize over the next side, I'll do on my side. I'm gonna criticize it. I always do. But you're supposed to name Buffy Julie Teeth. Yeah, man. Simple as that.
All right. So, members, let me say thank you. The adjournment has been so moved and seconded, and we will do our homework. We will do our homework, and then we will come back. Yes. So, moved and seconded. Members Malahoo, Fort, and Paulwell. Thank you so much. We should be back in short order for today's sitting of the House.
Yeah, people, that was it. But boy, I mean, I tell you, say, a lot of hole in this for drill and bore up, But to all me can say, come September when Parliament resume, she gonna come back with the same old time thing. Now go change. Them never change. Labor right, once a labor right, always be a dirty labor right. And simple as that. Yeah, man. And that's all and that goes to all the supporters them too. Not all of the supporters them, because you have good supporters now attack up now. Few of them well, raise them voice. So it's not all of the supporters them. But once it's a dirty labor right, always be a dirty labor right. So what she gonna do when Parliament resume in September? Watch and see and mark my word. If I know the same thing, she'll come back with. Try to shut down the PMP. Or worse. They must get worse. They'll get worse. That's how the PMP operate. And there's no doubt about that. So she cannot start. What's going to happen in September? I can mark my word, I'll come back on this again. To the hour date. Because see something. I need to see something. I need to register this to the hour date. To the 26? Hold on there. Because, so Friday the 28th, Friday the 28th of July 2026. 28th, I'm going to put them on my blood clot notebook. 28th of July, I come talk about this. When this woman come back, Parliament resume, she going to be worse than how she did on the first session. Watch. Yeah, man, 28th of Bumble, July, I said that, 2026. And believe you me, I have even write on the date. I can just go back to my thumbnail and draw it up. I come back on this and say, I did told you so. Yeah, man, I did told you so. Because these people, well, I don't know who's stomach and doing sick. Because they make you sick, Talking like me, let me talk this now, and it's like, yo, well, anyway, the only team can see me I drink up some nice sour sap juice, sip it and things like that. Yeah, man. the soursop juicer, blend it out, nice vanilla, nutmeg and thing like that. And then when we have on top of it now, we just throw some NSC in it. Yeah, man, nice NSC just tastes nice with the NSC. When it cool, I know what the NSC do as well. The NSC keep it. Cause me full of a bit of juice and full of a big buckle, put it in the fridge. So the time is hot. So actually, it's not gonna go off. Yeah, man. Really refreshing, man. Nice thick soursop juice. Really, really refreshing. With the NSC, the vanilla, kicking. Yeah. So I enjoy this. But boy, I not enjoy JULIET HOLNESS at all. It's like she's a devil from hell. This is what time I have for me thing, you know. So you have to come up for this. Me there a long time, you know. So anyway, we have 781 people plus. So, yo, give thanks and praises. Each and every one I pass through. Big up on yourself. Same speed. Because sometimes it's not really politics season now, but you have to dig out certain things and come talk about it. But this is the one of the kind of really interested when we talk about the standing order, you know. Because it abuse. The Labour right abuse it. Boy, I mean, I know it can't abuse no more. But it's still going to abuse more. Come the next Ross Club parliamentary opening, they're going to abuse more. But what can we do? Because it's up to the PMP. And even stay there and go on. Gaze and slow to the box. And play Mr. Nice Guy and decent. We talk it. I'm going to keep on talking that. And Joe is going to draw a snap election pound, you see. And this, anytime he do that and get through, you know. Because him know him I do, you know. He might weigh up him things, him I know him I do. Because he might use the PMP as slipping. And that go happen if you don't know them I do. But you go watch how go on in this PMP conference that come up and see what it don't go remain the same. I then I go try if it really. I don't know. We gotta just watch and see. I don't know say nothing yet. But Andrew always have a plan. Because I can't read his mind, you know. When we see him doing a COVID and call election a COVID, anything can happen. 2027, mid-2027, don't surprise a snap election. Because some of them have to do them things, they stay in power, you know. Just extend the years them. Extend it. Because if him do that anytime 2027, that means say he might go have 6 more years. So I'm going to just appear as clad carry them a drop on the PMP, you know. And them still there like a blood clot little dolly baby, you know. So no can go on. That's all I can say. Anyway, people, thanks and big up on yourself to pass through and hope you have a good evening and morning or whatever. So you up now. I'm not going to take this thing no further because I see what I see already. And I see I pay bullshit. And I don't know. Them people look like them really, you know, the wife a lie, the wife evilous, the husband, and then them a train them son to come do the same thing. And I want me say, you know, is that dynasty this, you know, them a try to build, you know. And Jamaica people don't see it. PMP look at them and see it because they must in a bed with them. Because remember, you know, Andrew Wallace's son, one of them, you know, gonna come Rastler run the Prime Minister, you know. Just watch it and mark my word. That's the next thing I predict again. Yeah, man. His son, one of them son, I don't know who they were the bright one or who they were fit field, but 2 of them can be Prime Minister. 2 of them can be in a politics, yes. It's gonna be a family affair dynasty. And at that Andrew Wallace I go towards. At that dictator do, you know. Control the country away and then Because yo, me tell you something, people, yo. Exactly, that's what I'm gonna do, and that's what they want to do. Make it be a wholeness dynasty, because you never have that in Jamaica, you know. So everything is gonna be a first, and this is the idea of this man and woman, and then them have the fucking PMP them because the Labour right MP them I back them because them I get them crowd full, so them ride on with it because the price is gonna be wicked to pay, you know. Them people want to be the first Jamaican dynasty, the oldest dynasty. Husband, wife, around the country now. Then you have 2 sons in the waiting. Cause you know, see the son them there, you know. I train politics, you know, learn politics, you know. And them know what I go on, you know. Watch and see. Mark my fucking word. Just mark my word. And see if it's not gonna be like that. Andrew gonna be the Prime Minister, his wife, or Speaker. Then it's gonna be it's a dynasty where them gonna rule this country for a while. And I don't know if PMP don't blood or wake up. It's gonna be the first dynasty in Jamaica, family dynasty. But them gonna be the richest as well, to the richest ever. Cause you never have that. Buster Mountain never rich. Manley dead pass, he never rich. Portia Sims not rich. PJ Patterson a normal man. But no real slaughter. That him see I go to, you know, see I go whole for money and say if he got all them things there. They make money out of it, but I like it. Andrew Wallace is the man. Not Bruce Coley neither. Andrew Wallace is one of the richest, gonna be the richest ever person who will lead Jamaican as a Prime Minister. And him a bank it up, it be a dynasty where them gonna be the richest in the country. Them things nothing were gone already, you know, where people get hanged for and things like that, you know. Because Andrew Wallace study a lot of things, you know. And Jamaica people allow him. But you know, we're gonna watch his space and watch what go on. But me tell you say, something like that a boil up, you know. Them a look for that. Dynasty status. Yeah, man. Because Andrew Wallace well ambitious, you know. He will sell all him mother to get him way, you know. And there's no joke about that. He will sell all his fucking mother. But anyway, people, bless up on yourself, big up on yourself. I hope you have a happy Friday morning when it's come. Yeah, man. Can be Friday morning someplace already too. But anyway, we're out and running, out and gunning, out.
A big sound a play a big tune.
Jah holy Emmanuel I, boy. Jah Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. Well, Gideon go busting out them head again. So much oppression poor people face right now. Them crying out for freedom. Them crying out for free speech. Then said them want to stand up like them black liberators, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther and the ancient monarchy where come pave the way, sir. Free up black people from me tear down them fence, yeah. Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon, well, the Gideon go busting out them head. I listen, I the power of the Trinity. Give us the teaching of His Majesty, and we know war, not devil philosophy. Not until level for man's skin is abnormal, significant well to the color of his eye. Remember all the war long in 1935.
This is Sticky Stucky Sweet TV with Keith Gargan. Good, healthy food with the X Factor. So give it a like, share, subscribe, and touch up that notification bell. And that is it. Look at that.
On Sticky Stucky TV. If your finger is not sticky, subscribe. But if your finger sticky, do not subscribe on Sticky Stucky TV. Big up yourself, Keith Gargan.